Yeah, welcome back to this channel. I am Jackson Many, and it's my pleasure again to bring to you a topic that I believe that there's something which you will be able to learn. Okay, the dressing code in the church. Dressing code in the church. Okay. Now, we will check on the biblical dressing code in the Old Testament and how it's being viewed also in the New Testament. And then from there, we'll make a conclusion. Okay, but before I, pour down my thoughts on the dressing code, one thing which needs to be understood is that dressing code varies according to a society. Okay, how people dress varies according to a society. For example, a society in America, more so the liberal one, they have a certain way of dressing. Okay, and if you go to, North Korea, they also have a certain way of dressing, which also influence the church. Okay. So how we dress, in this modern day varies according to the culture and the society that you are living in. The society dictates that. And remember this, that I am not talking about extreme, way of dressing. No, I'm just talking about the modest way of dressing. Varies from community to community, from society to society. So during the biblical time, people used to wear like gowns, yeah, like, a big gown. Both women and men wore loose woolen robe, like a cloak, like as an outer garment. They also used to wear sandals, not shoes. Okay. Now, if you read Deuteronomy 22:5, a woman must not wear men's clothing, for the Lord your God detests anyone who does this. Okay. Now, according to the law, in the Old Testament, law of the Moses, a woman was not to wear men's clothing. Okay. There was a distinct, in as much as they used to wear, all of them, both men and women used to wear a robe, but men used to wear a turban, and women used to wear like something to cover their head. So those are distinct kind of some parts of clothing that women and men used to have. Those are distinct. Like women used to wear a turban, and women used to wear like something to cover their head. So those are a little bit of the difference in terms of what women and men wear or wore. And it's prohibited by the law of Moses that women and women should not wear whatever men are wearing. Okay. Yeah. So cross-dressing was likely considered an affront to the natural distinction between, the sexes. So that means that cross-dressing was not allowed in the Old Testament. Okay. It wasn't allowed that men to wear women clothes and women clothes to be worn by men, and vice versa. It wasn't allowed in the Old Testament, and this could be like something that was related to what other nations were doing. You know, the nation of Israel was specifically chosen by God. Okay, and there were other nations, the Hittite. There were other nations around the children of Israel, and maybe these nations were practicing these kind of things for their idols, idol practices. And so God was categorical that this is not a behavior that will be allowed in the tent. Okay? Do not be allowed. The paganism belief will not be allowed in the tent of the Israelites. Okay? Deuteronomy 22, do not wear clothes of wool and linen woven. We really don't know, and we don't understand, you know, why, you know, this mix of linen and woolen woven clothes were not allowed to be together. Could it be that it was also part of the paganism practices, that God did not want anything to be associated with it, with paganism belief? Okay. But again, in the New Testament, Jesus came to fulfill. He did not come to abolish the law, but he came to fulfill. Okay? To fulfill the law. What the law could not do, Jesus made it to happen. Okay? He fulfilled the law. Okay? And in Romans 6:14, we are not under the law, right? Not under the law. And so these practices that were there in the Old Testament, Jesus came to fulfill that. And so we're not under observing a law to be justified. Okay? We are justified by the blood of Jesus, okay? By Christ himself is the one who is justifying us, not what we wear, or the law says do not wear this and that. Okay, so what does the New Testament say about the proper dress for maybe for women? 1 Timothy 2:9-10, 1 Peter 3 talks of women should not put so much, makeup and all these things in their body. What is the most important thing is the inner beauty. I know women like putting the makeup and all, nice dresses and all that, but Timothy and Peter says that that is not what is important. Braids in the head and all that, jewelry it is really not important, but clothe yourself with this inner beauty. Maybe this advice could be according to the standard of the also of the society that you are living in. Could it be that the early church, the first century church, was going through some confusion, that women were borrowing some ideas from the pagan, from the people who are not believers, and bringing them to church, thinking that if you wear this jewelry, if you wear certain kind of clothes, and make your hair look like in a certain way, then in the church, then that is what the beauty defines you. And so Paul is bringing this issue in the church and dealing with these issues, that the inner beauty is what is most important, instead of putting gold and everything in your body. But I don't think if this is an issue to the modern day church now in the 21st century. Okay. Many of the New Testament letters address specific abuses that occurred in the early Christian communities. I'm not saying that in the church that women should just, or men come in the church and with all these styles and all extreme styles, and then we allowed that. There must be a distinct, as much as we're living in a fashion world. We're living in a fashion world, but we need to distinct between a woman and a man, right? We need to have that distinction, that this is a man, this is a woman. And with that, it makes the church relevance. It makes Christianity relevance. But if we are just wearing what a woman wears is what a man wears, and extreme kind of clothing, women wearing extreme short clothes, that is a problem in itself, because that is what the world is doing, right? The world wants to be naked, so where is the distinction? There must be a distinction. It may not be specific, but there must be a distinction. You look around your culture, and the culture dictates what modesty is. Okay, what modesty is. I really don't have like in the culture where I'm coming from. I think for the ministry, for you to stand on the pulpit and preach, they say that you need to wear, suit, and a certain kind of suit, which is okay. To some denominations, they are emphasizing on that, and I think it's okay. We should wear suits, on Sunday, and that's how our culture dictates modesty. Also in the church, women should not wear jeans, pants. I'm not saying wearing pants is wrong, but in the church, and I think it will be better if you wear just a long skirt or long dress. There's nothing wrong. If you leave the church, go home, you can wear jeans and all that. But in the church, I think it is appropriate that we maintain modesty, according to our society and the culture. I'm not talking about extremism. I'm against extremism, that women are wearing shorts and exposing their bodies. I'm not into that. I'm just saying that, we need to be very careful, even as the culture is changing and the modesty is changing and the dressing code is changing. We need to be very careful on what modesty presents. Okay. Now, as I conclude, we should avoid any style of dress that sends a message opposing the church community value. Okay. Any style, what we wear, how we shave our head and all that, anything that would that sends a message opposing to the church community's value, we should shun away from it. Okay. Whether it's appropriate in the world, but as long as it's something that does not give God glory, or something that is not, of the modest, that can shame the church, then we should stay away from it. Be it shoes, be it the clothing, be it anything, style of hair cutting and all that. If really it's something that opposes the church, values, then we should stay away from it. I don't know what you think about this. I believe that there is something which you've learned. God bless you. Like, comment, share, but above all, subscribe. God bless you.